We've repeatedly called Labour leader Jacinda Ardern's office tonight to ask her about Metiria Ture's resignation. Of course, they have the memorandum with the Greens, but we've yet to hear back from them. The offer remains open, of course. We're on here for another 9 minutes. But earlier today, the new Labour leader, who, as Jacinda was saying, had a cracker of a first result in the preferred Prime Minister poll of that Reid Research News Hub poll, announced Labour's freshwater policy, with water bottling companies and farmers using irrigation schemes required to pay a form of royalty. How much will be hammered out in consultation with the affected parties. It's met with strong criticism, though, from Federated Farmers and the government, and confusion from Export New Zealand and others about what it actually means. So I spoke to Jacinda Ardern down at the Auckland venue where the policy was announced and asked her what it's all about.
We've got to stop the degradation of freshwater in New Zealand. You know, rivers that used to be swimmable now, the majority of them at a poor standard, and we've got to turn that around. Our belief is that with the right standards in place, with the right action, we can do that within a generation.
What's the right action?
We do need to do basic things like fencing of waterways that run through intensive farming areas. You know, we've said that we think that needs to happen within 5 years. Decent setbacks so you can have riparian planting, but because we want to create some win-wins out of this, we want to support communities and farmers who we're asking to do that job by saying, look, well, we've actually got some young people that we know seeking work in those areas. We'll pay them a wage to come and assist with some of that work, and also we want to use the benefits of a water royalty to go back into regional councils to help that work too.
I want to come back to a water royalty. Every time we talk to Fonterra, they tell us that the fencing office is substantively done, that much of that has already happened. Mm-hmm. The issue surely is the stuff that is much harder to control, which is the leaching of the phosphates and the nitrates down through the soil into the water table. How do you manage that?
Yeah, and some of that we've said that actually we think we need to go back to an old national policy statement that was set out some years ago that the government dumped, because that had much more comprehensive standards in that regard. But the point that I really want to make is that actually we have to start making some of these hard choices. These are hard decisions, but unless we make them, we will continue down a path where our future generations just will not be able to swim in our rivers.
Water royalties, who's going to pay and how much will they pay?
Yeah, we've had to listen to the public on this. You know, water bottling has really focused people's mind and said this doesn't seem fair. It used to be that water was simply a resource we use. Now it's a product that's being packaged and shipped offshore, and there's no one paying for that. We all have an interest in water. So what we're saying is that for water bottlers in particular, we want to see a royalty applied. If we're going to be fair about it, though, that will have a flow-on effect. But let's treat it all fairly and proportionately. A water bottler is going to have a different rate than someone else who uses something just simply on their land or to produce another product.
Let's talk about a water bottler rate. That would be a per litre royalty?
Yeah, so we haven't set the rate, but we would anticipate that for a pristine aquifer, where you're simply bottling it and sending it offshore, you would probably place a royalty on a per litre rate. And for someone that's what I would call our equivalent of gold. And for someone who's using water perhaps as a large-scale irrigation scheme, would be a per cubic metre rate, so a much bigger difference. And what the government has been saying is simply wrong. They've been making guesses about the rate we would set. I can certainly rule out the levels they've anticipated.
Can I raise the level? Nick Smith said to Andrew Vance yesterday that it would be the total cost of this to the economy would be $600 billion. That was the figure he used, wasn't it?
That is ludicrous, it is wrong, and I'm willing to absolutely stamp that out now. That is not what we are proposing. We are being absolutely clear here. The only reason I have not set a royalty rate today is because I refuse to set a rate without talking to the people affected first.
What would be the cost then? If Nick Smith's saying $600 billion and you're saying it's ludicrous and wrong, yeah, what sort of figure are you thinking?
Well, we're less than what he has stated, because I've looked at what he's stated and it's unworkable. Principles for us around a royalty will be fair. It will not apply to municipal or domestic water or stock water. It won't apply to that. It'll be proportionate, and we'll make sure that it's got different levels set for different uses. That is only fair. But as I say, I want to sit down with those who are likely to be affected and make sure it's workable before I put it out there.
The people who are likely to be affected, as represented by Federated Farmers, are already screaming blue murder, really. They are I mean, their initial response to this has been sheer terror.
But that's only because they've listened to Nick Smith, who I've said is absolutely wrong in the estimates he's made, thousandfold, significantly overreached on this. And it's scaremongering. The challenge I would put to Nick Smith is he himself has said that they are looking, via an expert working group, at water pricing. They're looking at it. We've been transparent with voters about what we will do. Now I'd like to hear what the government's going to do. It's not fair to kick this issue out to December. We either put a royalty on bottled water or we don't. We've said we will. Now it's time for them to answer that question.
Jacinda Ardern speaking in central Auckland earlier today.